They have over 220 million subscribers worldwide, and in 2021 made over $29 billion in revenue. They have over 12,000 employees and have been growing like crazy. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings famously said that they actually compete with sleep and not necessarily FX, HBO, or Amazon. Netflix is also known for their generous compensation packages, especially if you're an engineer or in product. Any conversation with Netflix HR will invariably lead to a discussion of Netflix culture. Netflix has been adamant about establishing a cultural code for the company, using words like judgment, communication, curiosity, courage, passion, all words that sound like they belong on corporate motivation posters. And the modern Netflix culture page is very watered down. I prefer the old one that luckily is still preserved on SlideShare. Netflix culture, freedom and responsibility. Obligatory yin-yang symbol. Values are what we value. High performance, freedom and responsibility. Context, not control. Many companies have nice sounding value statements displayed in the lobby, such as integrity, communication, respect, excellence. Enron, so in this part of the culture deck, right at the beginning, page 6 of 125, they start making fun of Enron. Then more on Enron. The actual company values, as opposed to the nice sounding values, are shown by who gets rewarded, promoted, or let go. Now that we've been exposed to this corporate manifesto, let's strip away these buzzwords and find out what it's actually like to work there. Here's what Netflix employees had to say on Glassdoor.com. Good luck with a nightmare. Pros, the salary is very good. Cons, have fun navigating through mean girls politics, unilateral decisions made by a CEO who expects to be worshipped, blatant as well as subliminal racism and sexism, salary discrepancies based on who you know, and if you're white or not, a culture deck that has been turned into a weapon, a revolving door of colleagues and people getting fired as a result of either an exercise in company loyalty by their manager or sheer retaliatory vindictiveness. But don't worry. You've got a target on your head too, and your days are numbered like everyone else. Enjoy the salary while it lasts, and for as long as you can continue to stomach the hypocrisy, it will all come to an end. This was very dramatic. I assume this person may have worked close to Hollywood scripts. Advice to management: stop your abusive, power-hungry abuse. You damage lives. Well, that was just one review. Surely it can't be that bad in other departments. Prepare to be a machine. Pros: some friendly colleagues that sympathize with you since we're all in the same hellhole. Free food. Sounds like a World War I trench. Cons: not even sure where to start. This is a place for cold-hearted managers with little experience in leadership. The policy of unlimited time off equates to no time off, as any form of vacation comes down to the whim of your manager. Best of luck trying to convince any manager here to let you take time off. You'll be working 24/7 with no work-life balance. I wasn't even able to take long-term maternity leave, as my boss explicitly said that if I took that much time off, I'd be lucky if my job was still here when I came back. Tried to speak to HR, and they said it was my boss's right. And remember that all employees are at will. Stay away from Netflix at all costs. You'll be selling your soul to the devil. I'd decline that job offer if I were you. Pros: salary and benefits, stock options, delicious free meals. Cons: I hate to sound bitter, but here it goes. Non-existent work-life balance. I couldn't stress this more. Rampant politics, micromanagement, and job instability. In a nutshell, take that culture deck and trash it. In case you are to be laid off, it happens cold turkey, the American way. They invite you in a meeting with an HR business partner who literally tells you you have 30 minutes to pack your stuff and go. No prior warnings, no improvement plan, just a generous enough severance package to compensate you for the lack of respect. It's not worth it. Singapore. Pros: kudos for your LinkedIn profile to leverage getting a job elsewhere. Cons: totally hypocritical with self-obsessed leaders who like to post on social media drinking and floating around whilst everyone is working. They weren't on leave. A marketing community that doesn't understand marketing. New VP who is more concerned with pleasing LA than understanding the people of the region and tends to talk whilst looking at his phone. The total disregard for how negative behavior affects health, parents, and those who live with domestic commitments such as elderly parents is the total opposite of what this company pretends to be about. We all got a free copy of the CEO's book. I can't bring myself to open it, given hardly any of it is true. Poor culture. Pros. The perks are a temporary fix. The leadership in many of the verticals walk the talk of the memo. I believe the intention of the memo is admirable. However, it needs to be refreshed to ensure it still applies to what Netflix has evolved into. Poor culture. The C-suite has no idea how poorly teams are being treated. People are encouraged to speak out, candor, but then are retaliated against and ultimately don't pass the keeper test for reasons that leave Netflix exposed to litigation. Hence the generous severance. Very subjective, with no accountability. Netflix does not provide opportunities for professional development to all employees. Only a select few get approval. The D&I initiatives are watered down. That team is focused on its individual personal endeavors and private businesses instead of Netflix. Do not work at this company, and this is from a recruiter. Pros. Given a very high salary with extensive benefits such as unlimited paid time off and food. Cons. Horrible management. Managers don't want to teach. They just expect you to be great without any coaching, or they will, quote, find someone else who will. It is a complete lie when their culture memo preaches that they give employees feedback with time to work on their manager's unreasonably high expectations. They do not give you any idea that you are not meeting expectations, just let you go without warning. If you want to ruin your self-esteem, confidence, work-life balance for a high salary, this is the place for you. Advice to management. I do not feel comfortable speaking to my managers, so I will write my feedback here. Spend time actually coaching and mentoring your employees and actually practice what you preach. Practice what you preach in your culture statement, where you give genuine, timely advice to better your team and not give up on them without any warning. It's about fear and not about culture. Pros. Salary higher than the rest of the industry. Cons. Culture of fear. Indoctrination into a culture that is focused on intimidation and unattainable aspirations. The company grew so quickly that right-fit managers for a startup are now managing large numbers of people, and they are incompetent. Due to this incompetence, the culture has become cutthroat, where many people have been rapidly fired without justification. Often it's political because their management fears the person being fired would replace them. Management is dishonest about the transparency of salaries and raises, where favorites are rewarded rather than those who actually perform. The higher people are in levels of management, the greater the pressure to give up their personal life, including family and children. Successful executives are dysfunctional with no personal lives. The culture memo, or deck, is a deceitful document now. It's become weaponized and is used to humiliate people and fire them. There is no warning before being fired. It's a surprise process where people are often told they are no longer employed and told to leave the building immediately. Management then communicates a fabricated version widespread to many employees by email or meetings, often stating that there were repeated coaching and warnings. There is none. Advice to management. Learn management as a corporation. Current methods are failing. Incompetent engineering managers, average engineers. Now, this should be juicy because we all know Netflix engineers are supposed to be some of the best in the business, right? Pros. Pay is great. Free food. Good 401k match. Cons. Culture deck is a bunch of lies. The reality is this. A. It is hard to find stunning colleagues because hiring is broken. If you are good at talking and repeating cultural jargon in the interview, you can easily get it. You can look in LinkedIn to see the qualification, background, and education level of our engineers. Many engineers here are from body shop Indian IT firms who came on site and simply switched to Netflix because they can talk. Informed captions, mostly managers, are technically incompetent and have no clue on making any informed, data-driven decisions. Decisions are heavily driven by politics. The whole push of open and honest feedback is just a sham to make things look good. Providing critical feedback is impossible here, as it mostly backfires and results into getting fired. So people just keep providing rosy feedback. If you were hired into a bad team or don't like the work, it is very, very hard to switch teams. Even if some other manager is willing to take you in their team, the current manager usually retaliates by triggering the keeper test and you get fired. Essentially, your manager tells the new hiring manager that this person was a bad performer, so switching teams to not get fired. There is no career growth for individual contributors here. Everyone has the same title and level. However, on management, there is a clear growth path: double standards. Well, guys, that was certainly illuminating. If you have experience at Netflix or in the entertainment industry, let us know what you think in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and as always, subscribe for more.